Marco Bezzecchi blew his rivals away here today, didn't he, in Portimao? He wins our penultimate Grand Prix of the campaign. Surely he has secured third place now in the World Championship after another dismal Sunday for factory Ducati star Pecco Bagnaia. That is not it for our race day schedule here at the Algarve International Circuit. But we're because we've still got a 90-lap Moto3 battle to come your way. Of our top three though in MotoGP, enjoy some very hard-earned post-race Prosecco. Big up there from Alex Marquez as his podium tally. There's a bigger, another double here this weekend for the Gresini racing rider. Back-to-back double podium for Pedro Acosta. Still that first win eludes him, and just one more crack at the top step of the podium. This time next week over at the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia. Victor go the spoils, and on this occasion it was Marco Bezzecchi. Truly dominant performance. Well, that's just one round remaining and now in 2025. We've seen a brilliant drop from the haven't we, before on some of their podiums of the race. This sounds like with the cheers going on, that one was caught and it's not gone to waste. There we go. A friendly staff have got on this occasion the big one with Prosecco. Quite rightly, Marco Bezzecchi and his team enjoyed the sun. Well, that Grand Prix started in very emotional fashion as Miguel Oliveira got a standing ovation and a rapturous reception in front of his home crowd ahead of his farewell on home turf in MotoGP here in Portimao. Marco Bezzecchi flying away from pole position. He got the drop from the field with a perfect start on that of RSGP. Well, it was almost game over from turn one onwards as he ended in P1. Bez then victorious for the second up for grabs. We'll see you next week over in Valencia.
Marco Bezzecchi heads there with one hand on that bronze medal for third in the World Championship this year. Victory today, Alex Marquez did hold off a late rally from Pedro Acosta for second, Fermin Aldeguer fourth, so Gresini 2-4, Patrick KTM 3-5 with Brad Binder coming through from 14th to 5th. Fabio Quartararo here held on to 6th ahead of with Marc Marquez now just 100 points ahead of his younger brother Alex. Marco Bezzecchi 35 clear of Pecco Bagnaia. He needs 3 points next weekend in Valencia. Of course, could achieve that in the sprint on Saturday by finishing in the top 7. Bagnaia has his work cut out now to keep Pedro Acosta at bay, just 3 points between them. Of course, Constructors champions, Aprilia actually, by virtue of their wins this season, they are actually now secure, being second in the championship. Even a double for a KTM rider in Valencia cannot see them overhaul the Novara factory, so they will take second. Ducati Lenovo, they are the team champions, of course. Gresini will finish second. The VR46, 36 points ahead of the factory KTM team. That could still be overturned next weekend. The independents are concerned. Alex Marquez, of course, is your champion. Frankie Moreno not scoring today after that early incident. He is now 12 points behind his teammate Fabio Di Gianantonio for second. The independent teams race, Gresini, of course, are champions. The R46 will finish second. Trackhouse, thanks to Ayagura's performance today, maintain a 27-point lead over top. have some highlights. Marco Bezzecchi starting with Giannini. See Morbidelli eliminated. That would also force Bastianini to pull into the pits for some repairs on his KTM. But then Alex Marquez looking to make quick work of Pedro Acosta. Pretty quick work than he made of him yesterday, as he took an early second place. Bagnaia was running in a rather lonely fourth, but this crash through turn 10 eliminated him. Through the corner, he would later crash through 10. With that, surely go any hopes of Bagnaia finishing third in the World Championship. Brad Binder was making good progress up the order, although his progress was halted by some contact with Fermin Aldeguer, which allowed the 54 that then would be cut for. This was the crash through turn 10 for Pecco Bagnaia. And now surely will finish outside the top three in the MotoGP World Championship for the first time since 2020. Toraro on the absolute limit to try and hold Binder at bay. Towards him though, he stepped over that limit and lost that fifth place. From Bezzecchi, he was half second clear on Sunday morning. And in the end, his advantage really done justice by the margin of victory. Bezzecchi cruising to a Portimao success, which all but secures third in the championship for him, with just Valencia to come. He needs 3 more points to finish inside the top 3. MotoGP then have one more weekend to go, but we still have one more race to go here in Portimao. Moto3 is coming up next.
A race day schedule. The action this afternoon about to be completed by a 19-lap Moto3 race. Moto2 and MotoGP have already taken place on this spectacular Portuguese coastline. We'll get now set to find out who will be our winner in our penultimate round of the lightweight world champion category in 2025. He went to Australian Joel Kelso. Some lap produced by the level of MTA KTM rider, 146.764. That's put the 22-year-old Australian from Darwin on pole position for the second time in the last 3 Grand Prix. 6th but round the last 7 for Kelso, as he looks to finally win his first Grand Prix. It's going to be his 80th attempt. Alongside him, in a bit of an Australia-England Ashes battle ahead of the cricket series this winter down under, is Scott Ogden, riding for the CIP Green Power team. Scott Ogden, the two of them at our last Grand Prix in Malaysia. In Sepang. The best possible news is both are now back in Europe to continue their rehabilitation. Now we are getting set before this 19-lap Portimao battle. Kelso on pole. Now we are getting set for this 19-lap Portimao battle. Kelso on pole position. First start of the year for the Aussie. Scott Ogden then, he is going away from second place in this Grand Prix, fifth front row of the career. It started with 79 at 22-year-old. Front row of the year for Ogden. And completing the front row of the grid. Maybe an important front row as well for Angel Bequeras, completing an all KTM top 6 on the grid for this afternoon's battle. Bequeras is still locked in a pretty strong fight for second place overall in the championship with Max Keeles. Those two with 50 points left to fight for. The 2 rounds remaining, split by just 13 points. Bequeras then goes from third, bringing a little bit of spice in that battle for the runner-up place behind Jose Antonio Rueda. Is the fact that behind Bequeras on the grid, leading row 2, is in fact Max Keeles, with Guido Pini and Joan Esteban. Still the best qualifying for Esteban on the Red Bull KTM Tech 3 machine, standing in for the unfortunate Jacob Ralston, who's missing through injury after a crash over in Malaysia last time out. Well, Moto3 always tends to deliver something special here in Portimao. Let's hope.
Start going after World Prix victory today. Was the sole entrant to the in Green Portugal this weekend for very obvious reasons, which is to go and definitely out the world champion Jose Antonio Rueda as they continue their recovery in Europe. So Joel Kelso from pole position, of course, he looking to do what Tayo Purasato did last time out in Malaysia and end his long wait for a Grand Prix victory. Purasato had to wait the thick end of 80 Grand Prix for his first win. Today,
everybody connected to the CIP Green Power Squad was the first top 10 in 10 of Port Ogden since he took the checkered flag 7th over in Assen, only the second top 10 finish of the year for the Brit.
Riding then, riders with some serious motivation in the
Foster, oi, back, brilliant character, isn't he, Joel Kelso. Well, replacing the injured David Munoz, heading row 3 in 7th place, is the brilliant Irish rider, Casey O'Gorman. Let's get his thoughts for Jack.
Yeah, brilliant job yesterday by Casey. Row 3 of the grid. I've been looking forward to this one.
Yeah, well, I'm excited. I've done a good job all weekend. I can be proud of myself no matter what happens today, so yeah, I'll get stuck in.
Good luck, have fun.
Thank you.
Get stuck in, yeah, brilliant performance that by Casey O'Gorman, standing in Licamoli Dynamo intact squad for the absent David Munoz. Of course, Munoz having a season-ending leg injury in a rather controversial conclusion to the Mandalika Grand Prix. So for Keras at the moment is occupying that second place in the World Championship standings. 251 points he's collected so far this season, 13 clear of Max Keeles. As mentioned, then Scott Ogden, his career 5th front row start coming up very shortly here in Portimao. Let's get his thoughts pre-race for Jack.
Front row of the grid for this one. How do you think the race is going to pan out?
Yeah, it goes two ways. Also can push, or he can't push. It depends. We'll see. I hope he pushes. I hope the race is faster. I don't know about the tyre yet. The team are making the decision now, but I feel like we're in a good place and I'm ready to go.
Good luck, all the best.
Thank you.
Field's ready. Let's hope he is ready then to fight for a career first victory. Danny Kent and John McPhee, of course, have been British winners in the Moto3 World Championship previously. Doing another super performance. Here's the rider on screens right now. Joel Esteban, his best qualifying, first time he's qualified top 6 in 21 Grand Prix starts. Well, we just saw him shouting oi, oi, oi to some of the Aussie fans in the crowd. Can he cheer them up with a first victory? Kelso on pole, is with Jack.
Yeah, with these Australians that made the long trips continuing to give Joel some support. Nice to have a few locals here on Portugal's soil. No?
Yeah, mate, it's good to see some Aussies out here supporting us, so let's see if we can put on a good show for them today.
How do you think the race will pan out? You love this place. You must feel you've got the pace to attack.
Yeah, bugger knows, but we're going to try to attack anyways and see how we can get away from the group or not.
Have fun.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, can Kelso attack and can he make a breakaway at the front? Yeah, there's a very vocal Australian fan in the grandstand because we can hear him actually through our headsets. A fair play, got a booming voice. He might actually be heard back in Darwin if he carries on at that rate of decibels. Yeah, Kelso, clear plan, attack, and then maybe try and break up the pack. There is Casey O'Gorman. This is not new territory then for the Irish rider. This is his 3rd Grand Prix start. By far, though, his best qualifying position. well, I say replacing David Munoz at Barney in He's actually replacing Brian Uriarte, who was the replacement for David Munoz, because Uriarte drafted into Red Bull KTM Ayo, which is where he's moving next year. Of course, he's standing for some world champion Jose Antonio Rueda. So we've got there.
There are 6 replacement riders in total, which we'll run through in full when we get the grid in a moment. Let's head down to the grid and hit Jorge Martinez Aspar with Max Keeler starting 4th. Thanks for chat.
Yeah, of course, the fight for second in the World Championship is still raging on, as you guys have mentioned. This looks from the outside, Jorge, like this could be a really great race.
Yeah, it's a very big change to yesterday. Yesterday is a lot of wind and also the temperature, and sure, it's a big difference after the race to MotoGP. The asphalt is many tires. It's the feeling for the tire sure is a big difference, but anyway, it's for all riders. But sure, it's this race is complicated with very difficult manage to the riders in the top.
How does Max feel ahead of it?
No, the feel is Maximo is incredible. He's a big talent, very easy everything, but it's necessary work to the head, to the concentration. And also, if there's sometimes necessary, understand, he's finished 5 or 6 positions, it's not so bad, no? For the championship, no? It's too much fighting for the win, every time. But it's very good now.
Good luck, have fun.
Thank you so much.
Very much, Jack. Thanks to Jorge Martinez Aspar, who was unearthed another gem, hasn't he, in the shape of Max Keeles. No podium in the last 3, which is the longest run of the season so far without a podium, as we just saw there Red Bull KTM rider Alvaro Carpe with a special get well soon message to 55 and 99. So many Moto3 riders this weekend are actually carrying a special sticker on their fairings, wishing speedy recoveries to both Dan Wheeler and Jose Antonio Rueda.
It's Valentin Peroni, who starts from the head of the 4th row. Yes, will be particularly enjoying being out-qualified by his substitute teammate in the form of Joel Esteban, who's up the grid in 6th place. But here is a rider who we should give some congratulations to. The newly crowned Junior GP World Champion, Brian Uriarte, who again the latest in a long and increasingly long list of riders to do the Red Bull Rookies Junior GP double after he clinched that crown in Barcelona last weekend. He didn't win either of those races. The 2 riders that did win are both on this grid. Jesus Rios, who makes his debut in place of the injured Ricky Rossi, and Marco Morelli, who's of course going to be on this grid next season as an Aspar rider. He of course is currently in MLAF colours. Morelli starts on the 4th row of the grid, 1 row behind. Only 1 place ahead of Brian Uriarte. So, to go. So safety car leaves the grid. 19 laps of this Portuguese Grand Prix ahead of us. Here is Marco Morelli, who was the victim of a Rossi Lorenzo style last corner move from Rios in the first of the Junior GP races last weekend, but he got even by winning the 2nd and is certainly in contention to finish as the runner-up to Uriarte in the Junior World Championship. Morelli, as mentioned, guaranteed to be a regular on this grid next season, when he'll join Max Keeles and Aspar.
Points in 3 of 6 starts for Morelli so far, best of 13th in both Brno and most recently over in Sepang, where we finished our 4-round overseas tour. Starting on 15th on the grid, back up that 5th row is Luca Lunetta, or the 658 Squadra Corsa team. To the Italian, of course, about to bow out of Moto3 and move up into the Italtrans Racing Moto2 project next season, as low as qualifying in 7. 60 Dutch TT in Assen for Lunetta. The grid will start clearing very shortly. Underway here in Portimao. Angel Piqueras then on the front row of the grid, trying to secure and tie up 2nd place in the World Championship. Already multiple race winner in 2025. Scott Ogden back on the front row with some performance. If he could win for CIP Green Power after the event to Malaysia. We're starting from pole position for the 2nd time in the last 3 Grand Prix, with a lot of Aussie support in the main grandstand. As we've heard, it is Joel Gelso looking for his 1st win here in Portimao.
Well, the Ashes are less than 3 weeks ago away, and it's Australia versus England on the front row of the grid in Moto3. Second pole out of the last three for Joel Kelso. Third front row of the season for Scott Ogden. They're 1 and 2, with Angel Keras completing the front row. He is searching for second in the World Championship. He can finish that today. Max Quiles, his best qualifying since Hungary. 8 races going forward there. Julio Figini from Q1 to 5th, and Joel Esteban a career best 6th. Ixiel Gorman in for David Munoz lines up 7th ahead of Adrian Fernandez and David Almanza, who was fastest on Friday here. Valentin Peroni 10th ahead of Malaysia in a tyre for Osato and Alvaro Arpe. Marco Morelli 13th ahead of Ryan Ariarte, who's in for the world champion Jose Antonio Rueda. Luca Lunetta complete to apply. Dennis Hodge back from illness, he's 16th ahead of Kim Panic, who's in for Yusuke Yamanaka, and Stefano Nepa 18th. Zen Matani, who's in for Tachiko Boazri on the team major, he's ahead of Matteo Battaglia and Nicola Ferraro. Ruche Mudnik and Yoshi and Cormac Buchanan on the next from Buchanan has taken his crash challenge for the season up to 34 now, and completing on brilliant 25th is the debutant Cletus Rios from Marbella, who is in for the injured Ricky Rossi.
KTM have locked out the top 7 places on this Portimao grid. An immediate fight back after the Malaysian Grand Prix, where for the first time since the Indian round back in 2023, over 2 years, we had 2 Hondas finishing on the podium. Led home, of course, by Taya Furusato, starting this Grand Prix down in 11th place. Hasn't scored a single point in 3 previous visits to this Algarve International Circuit as a Japan Grand Prix winner. The first Honda rider to win back-to-back races since Jaume Matsui did so in Japan 2 years ago, back in 2023. But it worked for Ludoka Furusato from the middle of that 4th row.
All tyre options have been chosen in this race between soft front, soft rear, medium front, medium rear. The majority have gone medium front, soft rear. That includes Ogden, Keras and Keeney in the front 2 rows. We've got Quiles and Esteban who've got medium front and rear. And interestingly, Joel Kelso, he's one of just 2 KTMs on the grid who've gone for that soft front tyre. Cormac Buchanan being the other. Of course, the Hondas, they all generally go soft on the front. But Kelso's deviated, soft front and rear for the Aussie.
He's going to try and bolt, isn't he? The tactics seems pretty obvious as far as Kelso is concerned. Just try and get the whole shot, get the head down, and then hopefully end up on the top step of the podium. Max Quiles, well, he has already been a Moto3 winner. Well, it's been an incredible introduction to the World Championship for the number 28. If you're going to finish ahead of Max Quiles in 2026, you will be going some, because he's going to be clearly one of the standout favourites for glory next season. In 7 since his pole position on our first visit to the Balaton Park. He heads row 2 in 4th place. What can he do about a 13-point deficit? Keep the Keras in the battle for 3rd. So no matter what happens in the last 2 Grand Prix, Quiles will still end the championship. Well, he's 3rd overall in the standings, which is some achievement given the fact that he was a rookie. Given the fact as well that he missed the first 2 Grand Prix of the season because he was ineligible with the age limits. And then he missed another 2 Grand Prix after a stellar debut in Austin when he broke a thumb just before the Qatar Grand Prix. That has been thumbs up all round as far as Quiles is concerned. Kelso then, Ogden and the Keras in front row. Kelso and Ogden looking for their maiden victories in the Moto3 World Championship. Kelso number 66 bike. He took pole for the last 3 Grand Prix for the rider from Darwin. Green flags clear at the back. It's lights out, we're racing in Moto3 here at the Algarve International Circuit. It's a brilliant start, a dream start by Joel Kelso, who's already about half as the bike lets clear everybody else as they drop down the hill into the 1st corner. Quiles has been dynamite as well from the 2nd row, from 4th into 2nd place. Ogden there in 3rd, having started 2nd, but Kelso has made the prime start from pole.
It's Esteban next up in what is now 3rd place, trying to attack Ogden for that 3rd position, but Ogden takes it back all the way out of 3. And then it looks like the Keras ahead of Casey O'Gorman, who's off a place into 6th.
With that soft front, soft rear tyre combination, Kelso has got to get on with this now, because he'll be in this very early part of this Grand Prix where he'll have the superior grip. But with that combination on that KTM, he's made the dream start as he now flies towards turn 6. Look at this bike, Kelso through 2nd. The one he was only 3.5 tenths clear.
Esteban again attacking Ogden. This time he has made his stake. Esteban, who's never been on a Grand Prix podium, took a best of 4 in Australia a couple of rounds ago. He now passes the grip for 3rd place.
Twice he's been 4th in the sport for the French Grand Prix as well last year. Esteban was so close to the box, wasn't he, in Australia. Further back, we're looking at David Almanza, who started from the back of the 3rd row in 9th place. Almanza down in top, so not going to exactly a standing start from the left from Honda rider.
So as well, it's already 6 tenths of a second. Look at O'Gorman now as as the Irishman attacks the Brit. Ogden getting beaten up a bit on this first lap. That's O'Gorman taking fifth.
Ogden's going the wrong way here. O'Gorman, there's the door wide open there, and he tries to hook the inside line. He's got the inside line, just gives the Ogden a little tap there, and that should allow maybe Adrian Fernandez also to sweep on through. But Ogden just got picked off the optimal racing line going through 14. So this has been the picture-perfect first lap as far as Kelso is concerned here in Portugal. He will lead the pack over line at the end of lap 1 by just over half a second. Quiles in second. Esteban had an excellent first lap coming up from 6th to 3rd.
Harris is now taking that lane out to Ryder. O'Gorman, I think, has just held on to what's now 5th. He's ahead of Fernandez, Ogden, and then we've got Keeney, who's done a couple of race force five. He was the big loser on that first lap initially. He got the line. He dropped back from 5th, but he's now back into the top 8.
Sideways into 3 was Esteban. He's all actually need to watch on the top 3 KTM. Ogden then from 2nd to 7th, because he was in 2nd. Now he's been picked off by Keeney down the hill into turn 5. So he's getting a real fully nose right now. That is Ogden. Keeney then has now pushed him back down into 8th.
Carpe is now next to 129th ahead of Alex Spangler. Kyle Corsato, who's never scored a World Championship vote here, so that didn't exactly give him a lot of hope for his chances of back-to-back victories, but he has at least made a progress. He's at 4th points for starting.
O'Gorman showing why he's going to be a full-time rider in the Moto3 World Championship next year. Blue down, Matani just got through on Rios for 20th place, second appearance in World Championships for Sen Matani. Kelso then at the front, with Quiles and Piqueras directly behind him, those two locking horns in the fight for 2nd overall in the World Championship. Ogden's losing further ground here. He just got dive-bombed by the 83 bike of Carpe at turn 13, so now Ogden is back in 9th.
To 3rd, back at the inside, then up to Garrett. He's right in the middle, but that battle for 2nd in the World Championship here is Esteban. So they closed in on a bit on Kelso in his 2nd lap, but I am interested to see Kelso. Turkey's strategy was to bolt early on, but what will his plan B be if he's unable to make that crucial break? His runners behind him. Garrett is on the medium front soft wheel. Quiles and Esteban are medium front and wheel.
Carpe having got thrown on for turn 13 and now just right in the fastest lap of this Grand Prix, 147.20. As Quiles closes right up on the rear tyre of Kelso as they drop down that heavy braking zone for the first corner. Quiles fancies this, doesn't he? He's now closes up, makes some more ground as Carpe on the inside of Keeney there going into turn 3. So Carpe is starting to charge his way back to it. But once again, using all the track and a little bit more out of 4 goes Quiles.
He's right to do that because that's not a track that is wanted to corner. It's not pretty green, pretty red. But now the intact riders look side by side. Keeney and Casey O'Gorman. Adrian Fernandez in the middle of all of that as well. In fact, he's the rider right behind him. So that is 5th and 6th there fighting for.
It was Al Mancha as well down into 5 that got through on Ogden. So Ogden now, having started 2nd and being 2nd overall in this Grand Prix, has now been promoted back to 10th place. So it's not going to plan at all as far as the British rider is concerned. Looking back from our race leader, Kelso's KTM, up to Quiles, who's looking for a strong finish at his super impressive debut season in the World Championship. Already a 2-time winner this year. And the win will do rather nicely in that battle for 2nd overall in the standings.
Whether it's the gearing or whether it's how light he is, but he's super quick down the main straight. He just breezed past Piqueras on the previous lap to take that 3rd place, and he's now through on Quiles. Look at that, the 78th of Esteban, who is a substitute rider, I knew he's in, but he injured Jacob Ralston. He's now up into there by Quiles.
Quiles, that was a heart in the mouth moment for Quiles. They know it down inside the Aspar garage. Quiles then, who was 2nd in this Grand Prix, comes over the line now, down in 7th. He lost 5 places with that big moment, dropping down into turn 14. This is giving Kelso then a little bit of a breather at the front of this Grand Prix. Out of nowhere, Adrian Fernandez then has come out of that particular exchange to the best side of it. Fernandez up into 2nd. Big freight train then now behind Fernandez. That's the big Quiles are scared.
Now the fastest riders on track, so there's a little bit of roll, I think, a bubble there for Esteban. And Quiles had to never get into that to avoid going into the back of the top 3 KTM. So Quiles could have been a lot more worse there. He was all triggered by a little bubble ahead of him as Almanza, the fastest rider on track, now attacks Casey O'Gorman to take 8th place.
Yeah, Almanza's looking really sharp here. He's the first rider into the 46s in this Grand Prix. He is starting to carve his way through this field. Right there off the room, the hot 9 3-pointer, isn't it, Almanza? Had a bit of a shaky first lap, dropping down from 9th initially to 12, but he's working his way back to exactly where he started in that lead. Now into 8th.
Faster than he went yesterday afternoon to ride on board that with Piqueras, who now has a leopard Honda in his face, and with Fernandez. Kelso's gap continues to hover around the half-second mark.
Tom Menendez through on that 7th place, but he got dumped up with a big scare behind Esteban. Further back, somebody's down at turn 30. One of Red Bull, KTM, as well. Looks like it's Perrone then who's gone down. So Valentin Perrone was running in 13th place. He had just been picked off by the impressive Morelli at the end of lap 3. So Valentin Perrone out of point scoring contention then in this battle. Side by side go Esteban and Carpe. Look at that elbow to elbow. Also with Pini as well as they charge down. Top gear and now down towards the downhill braking zone for the first corner. Also still making the front running. Just on the half a second clear of Fernandez in 2nd place. But Perez there in 3rd. Quiles is now starting to recover after the big scare a couple laps ago. Put himself back up from 7th to 5th.
Side by side with Carpe, they're side by side again. This time Pini's on the inside lane, he's on the outside down to turn 1, inside into turn 3. Then he moves up into 6th place ahead of Carpe. O'Gorman still 8th ahead of Almanza. Ferrasards and Rossi now back to P11.
Pressure was from Morelli. Danish, who's doing another outstanding job replacing with Yusai Yamanaka as a wildcard in his home crowd in Malaysia. He was on the point on the course for a point scoring finish on debut. He set the fastest lap of his home Grand Prix in Sepang. One to watch, isn't he, in the future? Is Danish currently circulating in 13th spot on top right from the Malaysian.
I think it's fair to say now from R19, the strategy of Kelso was to avoid point goals. That strategy has failed, so he might now have to come up with another plan. It's going to be Perrone's crash out of the turn of the points. That's a lovely move out of the inside from Carpe. As this rookie head-to-head continues, they can stop by something. This lap of Pini's not letting this one go.
He's just trying to pass his old team. He's a giant, isn't he, by Moto3 standards. Piqueras. Is that Almanza?
Yeah, it's very difficult to say what. I think that is Almanza on the left on the identical colour schemes, identical crash numbers, but it is Almanza who will be securing back-to-back podiums today.
Just ahead of him as well. Piqueras was almost down in an identical crash as he almost washed down the front going into that turn 13. Piqueras got away with it. Almanza didn't. So Almanza on the floor. Perrone and Almanza, 2 big name contenders in this Grand Prix to come to that should be turn 13. Piqueras was almost in that club as well. He gets to live goodbye another day. Piqueras still there in 3rd place.
I think Fernandez is pretty good pace here. He's got the first of the best last time around on 47.0 of the leopard Honda. Of course, if you weren't with us and following the news through Grand Prix, O'Gorman gets busy on the inside of 2. Identical Thompson fights the Tech 3 from the Arno KTMs, and O'Gorman passes the 10 up into 6th place. Just remember, Fernandez was disqualified from that 3rd place back in Sepang. He went over to his teammate Almanza, so he's got a bit of a score to settle today.
Moving in Moto3, O'Gorman inviting anything like a new wasn't he? And the Irish star, that was something very put on the inside of the 2 Red Bull KTMs at turn 3. Kelso then, having established a lead of, as high as about 7-8 tenths to the second early on. He has not been able to gap this field any further. He's sort of been stuck there now. There's Almanza's exit from this podium battle. Up at turn 13. Carpe has just picked up 8th place from Esteban. Esteban, who was as high as 3rd not that long ago, is sort of dropping out of early contention. He's got a long, long way to go. 13 and a half laps. But at the moment, Esteban 9th.
It's one of 3 long starts today, scoring 3 racing action, finishing it today. So they're going out there fresh for some Michelin MotoGP rubber that's been dropped down on this circuit. So maybe some riders getting a little bit caught out with the different grip properties of this racetrack midway through this Sunday afternoon in Portimao. It's not affecting Kelso at the moment. He continues to lead this Grand Prix. It's a leading group essentially of 14 riders. Back to Brian Ariarte, who's in 14. He's just over 3 seconds off the lead.
Esteban and Carpe continue dumping each other up. Esteban has now got 8th place back from his fellow Spaniard, side by side for Piqueras on the motorcycle that he used to ride in Moto3, the leopard Honda. Has he got the advantage on Fernandez as they speed down to the first corner? Quiles got the 2-bike slipstream, and we know how good Quiles is on the brakes. He was going to pass up that opportunity, wasn't it, to just slide on the inside of both Fernandez and Piqueras. Fernandez was completely easy there because he also got passed briefly by Pini. That's not going to work out as it's Pini leans on Fernandez once again. So Fernandez back from 3rd to 5th.
Turn 2 will probably be this leading group. Just like Piqueras now back
moment going through turn 15 with Esteban at the start of this Grand Prix. Dropped him 5 places from 2nd to 7th, but he just calmly, methodically works his way back through the pack. And now we're making light work at Keras down in turn 5. Class act, isn't it? Several times we've seen Quiles fighting right at the sharp end of these Grand Prix. Looking back then now to Keras.
Well, Santos wanted to make some inroads in this battle. I think he was side by side with Kini. He did get through. Borsato now up into big place, chasing back-to-back Moto3 victories. It would be just like Tyre Borsato, wouldn't it? Having waited so long for a first win to take 2 in a row.
Injected his rivals in lightweight world championship history. Previously won back-to-back Grand Prix. That achievement has been few and far between in Grand Prix history. Borsato then now as they plough down the hill into this jaw-dropping turn 15. Just working his way up then into the top 5. Kelso, this is the biggest advantage that the Aussie has had for him, and that's the reason why he's just finding his best lap of the Grand Prix, 147.273, as Keras outed once again on Keeler's on that long run down to the first corner. Keras then back into 2nd place, took his ride on circuit. It's Carthay, he's back in the 46s, a 146.915. He's also dragging Ogden around with him as well. Ogden in the 46s too.
Carthay John took him for one good legs, and he ran into the back of O'Gorman into turn 1, came within inches of tackling the rear tyre, but he didn't miss it, so we now find the pair of intact GP machines. Pini and O'Gorman, neither of them were racing for that team next season. Pini's up to Leopard, and O'Gorman is up to 658.
Quiles back on the inside of the Keras, down the hill into turn 5. Is he going to resist the Keras on the counter-attack through 6 and 7? He is. Lovely move that by Quiles. Down the hill into 5 on the brakes. That worked out perfectly for him. He's made 2 moves now on Keras in that particular tight left-hander. Fernandez then just jumping all over the front end of that Leopard, on to keep the front tyre down as they crest over the blind entry in the third 8. Kelso then, well, there's that little bit of melee behind him involving the Keras and Quiles. He's just started to build his lead out of this Grand Prix so far. He's up to over 6/10 of a second now. We've got to be careful this position, Pat, not to let Kelso just get a little bit too far out of reach.
Esteban's come at the front of this race. He's got 15 evaporated. He was back in the 48s on the last lap, back to 11th place. He's now been passed by Luca Lametta 2 for that 11th. So Esteban, who was fighting himself second, wasn't he? In the early stage of this Grand Prix, he's now way out of the top 10.
Yeah, he just rolled the dice, went for broke, and thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. Let's just crack on, get to the front and see how long I can hang in there as Borsato ran a real tight, lovely sweeping line on the inside of Fernandez to pick off the Spaniard and move up into 4th place. Fernandez might get full of in the slipstream as well. Just moved off the line there, wasn't he, on that bottom corner, Fernandez, as O'Gorman then sends it on the inside. Pini then now trying to retaliate back.
Overtaking 2 and 1, doesn't he? Got Corbins. He also passed Carthay. Carthay's not having that. Comes back through into turn 3 to take 6th place. Alvaro Carpello has won here in the past in the Junior World Championship, looking to add a first World Championship win to that today.
Eddie O'Shea got himself up before and scoring places in the 15th spot, just ahead of Stefano. Borsato's gone wide. As Andrew Fernandez says, thank you very much. Down the hill into turn 5.
Teams on the half-second lead. The fact that he's on these soccer tyres doesn't mean it's a guarantee he's going to drop it. Carthay once again with a lunge, this time for Borsato. Talk about Kelso just being smooth, just riding his own rhythm and just beating that tyre as well as possible. Kelso is able to do that. It's not a guarantee that he's going to suffer in later stages relative to his rivals.
Settled down now between Quiles and Keras, which is probably the smartest move between the pair of them, because they kept battling like they were. It was just going to play into the hands of Kelso at the front of this Grand Prix. Further back, Fernandez at the moment with a big freight train building behind him, as once again O'Gorman and Pini, the 2 temporary Dynamo Intact teammates, are taking looks out of each other at the moment, aren't they? Now Pini goes around the outside of O'Gorman, down through turn 14. Some will fill this between those two.
At the moment, though, they're battling for 7th and 8th. Borsato, who of course paid for that mistake, paid for it nearly. Turn 5 is now back in 6th, holding on to another Alvaro Carthay raid, I think, down the main straight here, up behind the Leopard Honda. With the Honda Borsato goes down the left. He's going to be on the outside now for turn 1. But this time, Borsato really care about that? I don't think he does.
Kelso and Keras are up to the ante here a little bit. Kelso and Keras have both just stepped their fastest laps of this Grand Prix. Although rather interestingly, neither leader of that last lap was faster than Keyless, who's the quickest of our top crew. And that's why Keyless, you can see, as they move just out of that picture, as they climb through turn 4, is right on the rear tyre here now, Kelso. This is all starting to bunch back up here in the initially group.
You're wondering what the effect of the slipstream is. Kelso was 10 kilometres an hour, he was slower than Piqueras, third across the finish line, and down to third one. Piqueras, obviously, with that slipstream ahead of him, that's the effect it has. It's near enough 10 k's down the main straight.
Funny Kelso, because he was still able to fire in his best lap of the Grand Prix. Although he has lost the lead there now, hasn't he? What's happened to Kelso here?
Big places. Kelso, Piqueras, Keyless. So Kelso must have made mistakes somewhere in that second sector. So he's four in the second thing, he's lost half second.
Kelso, something's gone horribly wrong for him then. At the start of this 10th lap of 90, we're into the second half of this Grand Prix. We're about to find out. We're going down into turn 5. Kelso going back down through the gearbox, and he's just wide. Maybe he's just got the shift wrong there. Down there he goes. Keyless, though, now your race leader. Lost 2 places there, did Joel Kelso. So for the first time, Kelso is now the chaser.
It's now the 2 riders fighting for championship on a rock that are now leading this race. Keyless and Piqueras. Will Keyless see this real opportunity to stamp on his advantage as we come through the final corner? And a question now to be asked of Kelso, having done the leading, done the attacking. He's now going to attack from 2 riders up ahead of him. We've seen in the previous Grand Prix that Kelso is always the best at picking his way through the pack. 47.2 for Keyless and Piqueras. 48 flat for Kelso. It cost him over a second.
He was fully fired he's doing to this as well for Kelso. He's starting from pole positions. Fernandez now goes on the inside. Fernandez now attacks him on the inside. And that's is getting really, really close now, isn't it? As this lead group really does start to close up. Foressato now has picked up Joel Kelso. It's all going horribly wrong here for Kelso. I was just about to say, as a Phillip Island feels it, doesn't it? From pole position, he made the early running against Jose Antonio Rueda on home soil before he wasn't able to close out that first victory. At the moment, Kelso now then, having been the race leader for the opening half of this Grand Prix, all of a sudden finds himself now in 6th place.
It's running on that piece of racetrack. Turns 14, 15, 1, 2 and 3 are all right-handers. If you find yourself on the outside with a major pack behind you, it's so hard to get back in front of the pack as someone else is just queuing up to go through as well. So Kelso now 6th place in this Grand Prix. It's the best by about second now behind the race leader. So he's got some major work to do to get himself back to where he was for the first half of this Grand Prix.
Almost as well, he's on the soft front of the soft rear tyre, so will he have the tyre or both tyres underneath him to mount any kind of retaliatory attack here? That's going to be a factor at play here for Kelso on the 66 bike as Carpe then on the inside of Fernandez into turn 13. That's another lovely move by Carpe. He's been charging back to his tackle. Fernandez then now has the inside line for this final sequence of long right-handers. Focus on the Honda through this final corner. Fernandez just runs a little bit of a wider line. The KTM just seems to be able to cut a little bit tighter through this final corner. Lucky though goes Fernandez like Carpe, that we know is great in the slipstream. So too is Foressato. Over the line we go. It's Keyless then for Piqueras, just over 10, splitting those two.
Second to last lap of Kelso, the 48 continues to have some problems. Fortunately for the chasing factors, they can through Foressato into that fourth place. Slipstream that extra 10 kilometres an hour just brings them back up to the top 2 who are in danger of escaping inside of Kelso. He's at the top 6 now.
As Kelso butchered those tyres already, that was his plan A to bolt away at the front, which clearly at the moment has not worked out at all. In fact, it's backfiring in rather spectacular fashion at the moment as Keyless gets out of shape. Down I think a turn 5. Piqueras gets picked up. Yeah, Keyless lost all of his momentum there down the hill into turn 5. That's a real costly mistake that by Keyless, who was the race leader. Now he's back in 4th.
Fernando looking to add his name to maiden Moto3 winners. Up inside comes Carpe, who's looking to do the same. He now takes 2nd place. So it's now Fernandez from Carpe, Piqueras and Keyless, who were first and second with the lap in hand, and now 3rd and 4th.
Was for his first top 10 in the World Championship. An excellent performance right now by the number 95 of Marco Morelli. Martini once again finds a way through on Kelso. You can just see at the top of your picture on the 95 M-Man Racing Honda is Morelli on course for a top 10. Looking to recover lost ground, then goes Keyless. He's going to run wide. Foressato picks up the Keyless. There's contact there between the two. 7, 8 abreast, aren't they now? Going through turn 13. What a Moto3 battle we have here. Piqueras is still somehow upright on 2 wheels. He's had 2 big scares going through turn 13. But out of absolutely nowhere, Fabio Forsato leads this Portuguese Grand Prix.
It's not only Fernandez there in terms of thinking he have his own mistakes. We're watching the four fresh battle behind him, and they still go past Fernandez. Look at the 3-4 wide to go down the main straight. Second covers the top 10 now.
And now Kelso fighting. Look at the slip between Kelso and on Fernandez. Keyless is going to dart on the inside of Kelso to get back in the third. Kelso's picked up offline, was briefly third, now back in fifth place. Forzato's in the safest position at the moment in this Grand Prix. Leading as Keyless squeezes Carpe going through and three. Carpe's good on look to his right to make sure that he's coming back up the line, safely going through four. Side by side, Alba Trelva, who now goes with Pini as they drop down through five. You want to be anywhere in this little group, it's Forzato.
Carpe finishes the right into turn 1, even though you're in the correct to turn 3. I don't think you guys in the back of your head in this one off-road, so no running what's going on. He's now relegated back to 7th place. It's Forzato, Keyless, Pini now in top 3.
Over the line, they were running 8/10 for the second, covering the top 11 riders down from Forzato and another Honda rider, Luca Netta. Don't forget Joel Esteban as well, who seems to be dragging himself back into this group. Graphic on the left-hand side of your screen is pretty much out of date by the millisecond. It just chops and changes as Piqueras now fires on the inside of Carpe. Oh, Gorman's absolute big back in there. I thought O'Gorman, he's on the power, dropping down through that turn 12. That would have been a real nasty one for O'Gorman. Lost all the momentum. He had to shut the throttle and allowed Oldham to rally through.
He's just watching here. The commentary, it's all kicking off. O'Gorman now has lost the place not just to Ogden but also to Morelli. So Morelli now into 9th place. Lunetta enjoying on the front of the back of his train, looking to try and make some progress into the top 10. Forzato though hasn't been able to take advantage of all that pain behind him. Still very close to that out of the top 11. The good news for you all is we still have 6 more laps of this to go.
So over 2 years since a Honda rider last won back-to-back Grand Prix. Jalamachi at the tail end of 2023. Forzato, then having waited so long for his first victory, he's going to get attacked here by Keyless. Another lovely move by Keyless, picking up some slips through. Just seeing that inside line, nothing that Forzato could do to defend. Fernandez then now comes from a long way back to get on the inside of Pini. Look at the chatter there, the vibration that Fernandez having to squeeze that front brake going into turn 3. Can't take your eyes, can you, off this Moto3 battle here in Portimao. Keyless back at the front.
Well, as it stands, I appreciate by the time I finish this sentence it will have all changed. Keyless is now into 2nd place in the World Championship. 13th place by Gale, 25 for a week. Keras coming on for 10 points for 6th place.
Keras has the tendency though to come on strong a little bit late in this Grand Prix. He has been a little bit beaten up in a couple of big moments. That turn 13, a very impressive save where he lost the front a few laps ago and there was a bit of contact further down. But we've lost Rios in this Grand Prix. He's crashed out. Jesus Rios then has crashed out of points scoring contention. He's down in 15th place.
So now it's taking out for 5th position. Keyless, who has spent most time leading since Kelso eventually lost the lead. He's now back in the front for Forzato. Keyless, I think we've seen a lot of chaos. Best place to be in his Moto3 racing is at the front. He's trying to scan the clear.
Superb at turn 13. Just swept on the inside once again there. Competing on the 83 bike. That's a few clinical moves that Carpe has made going into that turn 13. Yellow flags back at the table. Italy, when he was outside the Portugal in place, as was the Italian, he's crashed out of contention. Back at the front there. Lap 15 and 19 underway here in Portimao. 5 laps remaining, 5 melting laps. It looks like you're in store here in Portimao. Keyless is your leader. A 3/10 of a second he was clear of Forzato over the line.
Well, that's draw attention to Esteban. He's now the fastest rider on track. He's just in a 47.2. He's back into points. You'll be able to see him. And he's the Red Bull KTM sponsored rider with the plane of the temporary rider in for Jacob Woolston. I don't know what on earth happened to him when he dropped 2 seconds off the lead, but he's now back in the group again.
Big start here as the on Esteban as Fernandez and Kelso. That was super close between those two down the hill into turn 5. It's Fernandez that comes out the better of it. Fernandez then now back up in the P3.
Stays now up to Vortex to the second through the first sector. You can see him playing. It's just Rios' crash further back. Looks like it is. The Snipers on there for his Grand Prix debut. Rios sure will have a Grand Prix future in the not too distant future, but his Grand Prix is ending 5 laps remaining.
Esteban, that is, well, I'm back on Esteban, isn't it, as far as he's concerned there, as he battles his way through, barges his way through on the Carabas. He really did pick a bang out the Carabas today, didn't he, Esteban? Oh, that's Cleany on the 94 by then has crashed out of turn 13. Turn 13 in on this Grand Prix, caught out podium contenders Perone and now Mansa, and now Cleany unfortunately joins that club.
Turn 13 to the Mr. Black's now back in place again. He's now looking at Stephen Kielers and Rosato. A little bit clear in this. Rosato is touching the front of Kielers. He lost half a second somewhere in the third sector, so we're looking to pull away. Rosato's really back in again.
Still the race leader, and they drop down the hill in this halfway zone. Rosato there in second place. Esteban just gives a little bit of a tap on the shoulder of Kelso as they drop down into that first corner. He's got some battle scars at the end of this Grand Prix, as old Esteban, as Danny should just got up into 12. That's through on Brian Luriate. So once back in it for the first time in the World Championship for Danny, who's going to be very unconventional, but a long way around going through turn 4. He's almost in P1 again now.
I particularly enjoyed his experience from Esteban in this Grand Prix. Esteban through again. He says no contact that time. Esteban takes quick position. He certainly does fancy a dart at the podium in his final 4 laps. Is it just 2 though away at the front of this race? They are now 2/3 of a second clear. Or has Fernandez in third?
Keelers are starting to have some big questions at the front of this Grand Prix. Rossato at the moment, the only one that seems to have any kind of answer to this particular charge from Keelers is Esteban. But this time around, he's trying to find a way through on Carpe. Carpe will have the inside line now as they start climbing up towards this pretty tricky turn 13. Other than to make him safely through. Oh, look at Carpe. Carpe's front tyre there. He's like a podium stick. Somehow he stays on 2 wheels. It's Esteban who got a little bit hung out to dry, running wide through 13. The Carabas dishes out some payback on Esteban now, going through 14. Of course, what this is doing, this big battle is just playing right into the hands of our runaway top 2. Keelers as Fernandez almost loses the front down the hill into 15.
That lets Carpe back through into third place. I think we've got 2 groups now. We've got a pair at the front who are about a half a second apart, and then a group back into third place. Esteban spent much of the Australian Grand Prix right around the outside of people. That move on Carpe though did not work.
Oh, the Aspar team has Carabas. Carpe's front end is loose to say the least. Once again, we saw him almost lose the front into 13. He was flapping around all over the place. Well, there's Esteban coming through. Well, he almost had to put a stamp on that one. He was so late. Joe Esteban, well, he's not lacking aggression at all, is he, in this Grand Prix? Further back, Kelso there, who started from pole position, who did so much of the early running at the front in this Grand Prix, is currently down in 8th place. The gap between Keelers and Rossato in front, that's grown up to now almost 6/10 of a second.
Lunge coming through, basically broke through Alvaro Carpe's right knee there to take that position. O'Gorman's not out of this either. He's just on the right of the picture there, taking Kelso. O'Gorman's now up into 7.
He did not appreciate that. Esteban is a real nonchalant flick of the left arm off the handlebar there as if to say, what are you doing, pal? Come on, let's try and at least keep it clean. It's a very, very hard move. There's been several of them from Esteban. He's not getting any Christmas cards as he got Carpe as Casey O'Gorman takes that round. That Honda in the hands of Fernandez at the moment. He can't see the whole line. Has he already taken too much out of that crawling front tyre, Fernandez? As O'Gorman's out of shape going into 30. They're all squirming all over the shop. Aren't they about late on here? But O'Gorman then now on course for a first ever top 6 in the World Championship. Maybe even better. What a ride by the Irish star.
Standing performance so far from the 67. Has he got enough time to latch back onto the trigger at the end of it? They're battling for high competition. Keelers is leading over a second now over Rossato. Keelers looks like he's got this one under control. And Rossato is now dropping back into the clutches of Tigueras, who should set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on a 1:46.8.
Still a couple of laps to go. He's got a tendency to come on strong late on as the Carabas. He's delivering once again. That's beautiful. Using the slipstream down the hill just to ease through on the inside of Rossato's Honda. It might be a little bit too little too late as far as the victory is concerned. Fernandez retaliates on the inside of O'Gorman. That's a very short-lived experience though, as O'Gorman just hugs the inside line going through 3 and out the hill into 4. So Keelers then leads by a second. Well, he's known in the Aspar team call him Killer Keelers. At the moment it's through Keelers here in this really Portuguese Grand Prix. His lead still over a second, and that could get us.
He was the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, faster than he was in qualifying yesterday for the Carabas. Then he's almost time here to chase down Quiles. Himself did a 47.1. If Quiles can hold it in the low 47s for 2 more laps, surely he's going to win this Grand Prix. The Carries might just have to think of the long-term picture here. Losing 5 points in that Moto3 Championship is no disaster.
Magello has won at Marathon Park already so far this season. As Max Quiles, he has already shown clear evidence of why so many people rate him as a superstar of the future. Of course, he's part of the Marquez clan, isn't he? A regular training partner of both Mark and Alex. They're not going to be wasting their time with Team Raiden. I think we've got a great chance of making all the way to the top, are they? And Quiles is delivering another top-line performance. Once again, he was as low as 7th, walking after that big scare with Fernandez at the start of this Grand Prix, and he was in the fight before the podium. Kelso, well, he has a long look over his left shoulder, and all he will see is Scott Ogden. It hasn't worked out at all, hasn't it? His riders that started first and second in this Grand Prix. Kelso from pole, still down in 8th. Ogden was alongside him in 2nd, in 9th, and the last lap underway here. Quiles surely has this one covered. 1.1 seconds clear on the Carras. The gap between those two in terms of the fight, second over the champions, about to shrink to 8.
They're all back in the 148s now from the low 47s that they were doing for much of this Grand Prix. The big battle now is for 4 between Esteban and Carpe, who have got a bit of a personal battle. It's got personal during this Grand Prix. Carpe will not want to finish behind the 78.
He's already vented his frustration visibly, as we saw through a couple of laps ago. Not happy at all with the Esteban tactics. Esteban looks like at the moment he has got that 4th place coming up. He's going to back up his career best qualifying in 6th with his equal best to finish here potentially. Although Carpe still going to be wanting trying to exact some finish with back. As Furasato quests over through turn 8, I think Furasato's going to be looking at back-to-back podiums, backing up his brilliant victory in Sepang. He's going to come up a little bit too short today because Quiles has got this one well and truly covered off.
It's a big issue coming into the day. Second in the World Championship will run on to Valencia next weekend between Max Quiles, of course, riding for the Valencia-based Aspar team. Will have a lot of support next weekend as we head to the Ricardo Tormo circuit. He is looking to have to overhaul an 8-point deficit to the Carras to take second in the championship.
Max Quiles, very, very shortly, as you can see in the top left-hand corner screens, is about to become a 3-time Moto3 race winner as he powers the Aspar KTM machine out of the final corner. The perfect time to take it to their home Grand Prix next weekend. Max Quiles wins the Moto3 Grand Prix here in Portugal. 1.6 seconds he finishes clear of Angel Carras. It is back-to-back podiums in 2025 for Malaysia winner Tyre Furasato. A career best of 4th place, and once again it's a third 4th place finish in his career for Joel Esteban. Carpe's 5th. Casey O'Gorman, what a ride. What a future he has as well. The Irish rider coming home in 6th place. Joel Kelso and Scott Ogden both got out to Fernandez on a dramatic final lap. Well, Kelso, that's not what he came for from pole position. 7th place and 5.3 seconds behind eventual winner Quiles. Ogden is 8th. Fernandez and Moneta round out your top 10. A career best 11th for Morelli. First World Championship points for Hakan Danish. Top job by him. Ryan Uriarte scores more points in 13. Dennis Foggia and Nicolo Carrara round out your point scoring places. But Max Quiles eating his hopes of securing 2nd place behind Jose Antonio Rueda in this year's Moto3 World Championship. Well and truly alive as we have 1 round remaining, just 25 points left to fight for in 2025. It's still Carras 2nd in the standings, but he's now only 8 points clear of Quiles.
Had to escape from quite a bit of chaos in that Grand Prix, but once he did escape, there was no reeling him back in. Max Quiles, surely the title favourite for next season, could still end this season as the World Championship runner-up. Hank of the Carras limiting the damage as far as his hopes of claiming that silver medal are concerned. Furasato just ran out of grip a little bit in those latter stages. He very nearly got caught by Esteban and Carpe on that final lap. Furasato did a 48.3 on the final lap. Just about held on to that podium position to back up his victory in Malaysia.
Yes, a real strong ending to the season, isn't it, for Tyre Furasato? Another good ride. Once again, the top Honda performer. Actually, Fernandez ran out of juice late on, didn't he? At one stage, he was right in the thick of that podium battle. He eventually crossed the line in 9th. He was over 5 seconds back from Quiles. John Kelso's not going to thank me for reading out this particular stat today, was the 15th Grand Prix that Joel Kelso has led in his career, and unfortunately not been able to convert any of them into a victory. Leading once again, I thought so much in Portimao. 7th place. Well, we heard of course from Martinez Aspar on the grid talking to Jack about Max Keeler's race for the potential, and he delivered once again. Let's get the thoughts of Aspar with Jack.
Yeah, you said on the grid, Jorge, that Max just has that appetite to win, and he definitely showed it today.
Yeah, this is the mentality every time for my team, no? It's sometimes it's possible, sometimes not, but this is the mentality. And Maximo is incredible talent. It's more difficult for him, it's more better.
Congratulations, a brilliant ride.
Thank you.
Yeah, another fully right. And there's been plenty of them to choose from so far by Max Keeler. I've said this so often in 2025 as he starts dancing on top of that steam motor Aspar machine that he is. All the top, no question about it. Now he's on these kind of performances, there's only one way he's going. Winning victory, 1.6 seconds eventually clear of Angel Piqueras at the checkered flag. Piqueras knows that if he finishes ahead of Keeler next weekend in Valencia, he will be second overall in the championship. Good job by Red Bull KTM rider Alvaro Carpe. I don't think he's going to be offering any Christmas cards to Joel Esteban.
We are told that Joel Esteban did receive a conduct warning for that late in the Grand Prix. Didn't see it on your screens, but he was given a little bit of a warning for that to calm down for the final couple of laps.
Not so sure he really heeded that warning at times towards the back end of that Grand Prix. Tyre for Asato. He really is stepping up late on this season to show Honda still capable of taking the fight to KTM. Briefly led that Grand Prix before he had to yield to superb Max Keeler. You can just see there in the background with a full t-shirt, sunglasses, instant surfing. Jimmy Martinez, who is the manager of Mark and Alex Marquez, just shows how closely connected Keeler's is to the 93 and 73. As happy as Keeler looks, it's safe to say not the same emotion from Angel Piqueras, who looks a little bit frustrated. Second place, 20 very important World Championship points. To back second place is for Piqueras. It's Joel Esteban. Sure, there's a few scrapes on those Red Bull leathers and a few scrapes on the fairing and the bodywork of his KTM, because he certainly bought the show in parts of that 19-lap Moto3 race. I'm not sure that there's anybody made more overtakes in that battle than Esteban.
He was going down swinging in Portimao this afternoon. Fourth place though for him is still a fine result. I'm sure we will see him as a full-time Moto3 rider again in the future. Keeler's though, second in the championship, still very much a possibility for Max. 8 points is the difference. It's not back-to-back victories, but it is back-to-back podiums for Tayo Porosato. He's giving his reaction now to Jack.
Tayo, another magnificent ride. What a couple of weeks it's been. That debut victory last time out, and now just backed it up for a podium here. And a tricky race to manage. How did you feel it went?
Yeah, it was quite hard race. Beginning also push a lot, and it was group race, but it actually wasn't group race. So I needed to catch up front. I was starting from P11, and I think I used a bit tire in the front in the beginning, but in the end I was quite limited. As you can see, I was dead on the last 2 laps. And then Maximo was super fast. I did my job. I did what I can do today. I did my job. And overall, this weekend was quite positive. This circuit was really worst circuit for me in the calendar, and I'm really happy for the podium. It maybe not a win, so thanks to all my team for the support, and I'm really happy. Thank you.
Great job, Tayo. Well done.
Thank you.
And as he mentioned, coming into Portimao, he'd got a dreadful record. He hadn't scored a point in 3 previous starts. He wasn't exactly a big fan or a big lover of this Algarve International circuit. He might just change his viewpoint after that play. First time in his Grand Prix career. There are back-to-back podiums for Tayo Porosato. Some really noteworthy rides further down. Esteban 4th, Pacio Gorman a brilliant 6th. What a ride by the Dynamo Intact GP rider. And congratulations to Hakim Danish, the Malaysian, on just his second ever Grand Prix start. Really, that's like a technical issue last time out. Intact should be fourth and finished in both Grand Prix starts so far for Danish. He's certainly a hot prospect to emerge out of the Southeast Asia region. Well, he's still hanging on to second place in the World Championship, second here in Portimao. Angel Baqueiras with Jack.
Angel, you had to fight so hard for that second place there. To hold on to second in the World Championship, that'll go down to the final round. But there's some frustration. You maybe lost Max in the middle of that race.
Yeah, because I have been feeling good during the weekend, but on the race everyone was, I don't know if aggressive or stupid, but was a shame for the race, but we have to finish the championship the best way as possible on Valencia, and work for it and see.
Great ride, well done.
Yeah, great ride. And a very hard-fought second place, but you wouldn't really think so, would you, as far as Angel Baqueiras is concerned? I did get the impression that he wasn't particularly happy with some of the hard moves that came his way in that Moto3 battle over 19 laps. But when all's said and done, he is still in the prime position to secure second position overall in the World Championship. He's done it again. It's now a hat-trick of victories in 2025 for the sensational rookie Max Quiles, your Portimao winner in Moto3, and he's with Jack.
Max, another fantastic performance to take victory once again. You had that super close moment with Joel, but you calmed down, recovered, and battled back through to win the 8th win with a huge margin. How do you feel?
It was crazy. I enjoyed a lot. I was enjoying quite a lot the last 7 laps because I felt much more confident with the bike. At the beginning I was suffering at this moment as well with Joel because it had too much and I wasn't used to it, so it was a scary moment for me. I could go step by step, relax, and could come back, so it was a great race. I enjoyed a lot and really happy. So I want to play this for Chulaco for Fanan, and this is his birthday, so I dedicate this to him, and as well to all the team, my family, my sister Alejandra, and everyone.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What a rider. Another brilliant performance by Max Quiles. Thanks to our race winner here then in Portimao. One stage, he was always in the thick of the action at the front of the Grand Prix, wasn't he? Got dropped back to 7th, that would be scary. Last corner incident, as he mentioned, with Joel Esteban. That was the key move that he made. Finding your way through on Tayo Furusato. Times, it was pretty hectic, pretty frantic out there, wasn't it, here at the Algarve International Circuit. Less than a second, we were covering the top 11 at one stage. Times we saw riders 6-7 or breast going in and out of some of the fast and flowing corners here in Portimao, but taking the checkered flag in somewhat dominant fashion eventually. That was the uber-cool Max Quiles, the unflappable Max Quiles. As the Aspar team commenced the celebrations, the Moto representation there, of course, as well. As mentioned in commentary, perfect tonic for the Aspar team to head to their home Grand Prix in Valencia next weekend. Of course, the team and their riders are doing so much fantastic effort to be part of the fundraising relief efforts after the tragic floods at the end of 2023 in Valencia. Yeah, crack a smile, Casey O'Gorman, because you should do. That was a heck of a ride. 6th place for Casey O'Gorman in just his 3rd Grand Prix start. Twice Dynamo Intact decided to pick him up for the last 2 Grand Prix of the year to stand in for David Munoz.
And Juan Carlos Simoncelli signed him up for next season. He will be a regular on the Moto3 grid next season with the 658 Scotch Corsa Honda team. Holding their second seat available in the event that Noah Detweiler feels fit enough and comfortable enough to return in the future. That's a secondary issue for him. Now they're only to wish him all the very best in his recovery. As we looked up for the podium ceremonies, and it will be a dignitary on behalf of CF Moto. We have told the sponsors of the Aspar team who will accept the winner's prize. Tayo Furusato, who it's confirmed that even this weekend he's going to Moto2 next season. Of course, goes there as the Moto3 winner. And the podium finish today. Danisha will sacrifice some time. Angel Pereira still not cracking a smile. I'm sure he will in the fullness of time. Max Piles keeps the pressure on with his victory today in that battle for runner-up spot in the World Championship. So three-way battle still going on for fourth overall too. Alvaro Carpe and Joe Kelso now right behind David Munoz, who of course won't race next weekend. 4 points equivalent to 3 of those. Tyler Rosato, well, he's now up to 7th place in the World Championship and is the top Honda rider in the World Championship under his back-to-back podium finishes last time out in Sepang. And here, Angel Pereira, it's his 7th podium finish of the season. He's 11th now in Moto3. As we wait for Rosato in Moto2 round for 2026. Winner today, making his escape from all of the mayhem that was unfolding behind him. He does tend to thrive in the Moto3. And Spa enjoying life to their max as Quiles claims victory in Portugal.
Three in Moto3 in 2025 then for Max Quiles. Now in terms of the podium count in 2025, there's only Jose Antonio Rueda, the world champion, that has scored more podium finishes this season than Max Quiles. Mark Cast, now he's going to be a serious title contender, isn't he, in 2026. Race there between Tyler Rosato and Max Quiles. Joining the back Prosecco. He actually just stole a bit of a sip out of Tyler Rosato. I think Roy Martin, that's by look what out of it. David Alonso also joins in the celebrations. Yes. 17 years of age, so I'd imagine not actually allowed legally to pop open his own bottle of Prosecco, but just has a cheeky gulp of Tyre Rosato's. Plenty more race-free Prosecco you feel coming the way of Max Quiles in the future. He wins here in Portimao.
Max Quiles keeps his hopes of finishing runner-up alive with victory today. Angel Pereira taking second, Rosato back to podium to third. Joel Esteban certainly went down with a fight in his quest for a first podium, talking it then ahead of Carpe, brilliant sixth, Casey O'Gorman, Kelso before faded to seventh ahead of Ogden, Fernandez and Luca Veneta. Morelli 11, his best so far, ahead of Hakim Danish, who scored his first World Championship point. As with Brian Oriarte, who takes 13th place, but it's fortunate. 2 points for him, a single point in the end for Nicola Ferrara. Antonio Rueda then was world champion, 94 points clear of Angel Pereira. The big gap though is 8 points between Pereira and Quiles. For the runner-up spot in the championship, that will be decided next weekend. Yeah, Constructors Champions, of course, Another victory for them today. Of course, their winning streak ended last time out in Japan. Honda do pick up another podium today. Let's see it's higher for Osato. The Red Bull KTMI, of course, the team's champions. Fritz MT Honda MSI are 39 points ahead of the Aspar team and look well placed to finish second. Do well to cram all the highlights into this one because plenty happened in this Portuguese Grand Prix. Started on the soft front and rear tyres. John Kelso's initial plan was to clear off at the front of the field, but it might be successful. Skiles was taking some creative wide, taking through third ball as he picked the 66 in range. Very nearly off the oil. He almost ran into the back of Joel Esteban, who had his own moment in turn 15, which forced Quiles to react. Now Mancha at one point was the fastest rider on track. He would crash at third 13. Soon after Valentin Peroni had done the very same. The Argentine rookie crashing out. So Gorman was certainly making his presence felt in that leading group as he fought for a first top 6 in Moto3. Shooting turn 5 was where Joel Kelso lost the lead, a lead he would not regain as he gradually fell back down through the leading group. There's there with a moment there, wide into turn 13 as Paul Rest took the second behind him. Little action as the leading group constituted together. And for Osato to briefly claim the lead. Quiles though noticing the opportunity and taking third place. And moments later, he will take the lead in decisive fashion from Osato. Esteban was continuing to get stuck in. And that certainly didn't please Piqueras, nor the stewards, as he picked up a Honda warning. As Guido Fini joined the unlucky turn 13 club, he was out of the action. Esteban with more brutality as he went up the inside of Alvaro Carpe, who did not enjoy that. Iota enjoying his afternoon though. 2 blacks was smacked Quiles, who claimed victory number 3 of the season. He ensures that the battle for second in the World Championship will go down to the wire. It's sold out next weekend. We hope you're going to be with us for the party to bring an end to 2025. We will see you for round 22, the Valencia Grand Prix next weekend.
Bottas on the Danish boat.